A woman doesn't always need you to solve her problems. She needs you to understand them. When she opens up about what's hurting her, what's worrying her, or what's making her insecure, she's not being dramatic. She's being human. She's trusting you enough to expose the most vulnerable part of her heart. And if your first reaction is to dismiss, minimize, or laugh it off, you've just taught her that her emotions are not safe with you. The moment a woman feels unheard, she begins to build walls, quietly. You may still see her smile, you may still hear her say, "I'm fine," but deep down she's retreating. Every time you interrupt her feelings with logic or sarcasm, a part of her shuts down, because to her, your response means, "My feelings don't matter." And when a woman starts believing that her emotions don't matter, she stops expressing them, not just with you, but with herself. She learns to suppress, not share, and that kills intimacy more than any argument ever could. Men often misunderstand emotional expression as overreaction. But emotion is not exaggeration, it's energy in motion. It's how she processes life, pain, and love. When she cries, when she questions, when she gets quiet, that's her emotional language. You may speak in silence, she speaks in feeling. And if you can't understand that, you'll always misread her. Listening doesn't mean agreeing with everything she says. It means giving her the space to be real without judgment. When a woman feels seen and heard, she becomes softer. Her tone changes, her defenses lower, her heart opens. She doesn't need perfection, she needs presence. She needs to know that when she's overwhelmed, you won't call her too sensitive. You'll call her safe to feel. There's strength in empathy. Real strength, because any man can raise his voice, but it takes emotional maturity to stay still and listen when someone else is in pain. And the truth is, when you respect her emotions, you're not just respecting her, you're learning emotional intelligence yourself. You're growing as a man, you're learning how to handle intensity with calmness, how to meet emotion with patience, and how to love with understanding. Women, remember how you make them feel, not what you promise them. If she feels dismissed, she will start doubting your intentions. If she feels misunderstood, she'll start creating distance. But if she feels heard deeply, genuinely, she'll give you a version of love that is rare. Her respect, her softness, her loyalty, her peace all flow naturally when she feels emotionally safe. So the next time she shares her feelings, don't say, "You're overreacting." Say, "I see where you're coming from." Don't roll your eyes when she's upset. Look into them. Don't walk away from her emotions. Walk with her through them. Because her emotions are not chaos, they are communication. And the men who understand that, who protect that emotional space with patience and empathy, they don't just keep a woman, they earn her trust in a way that no charm or words ever could. Trust isn't built with big words, it's built with consistency, with showing up when you say you will, with honesty that doesn't shake under pressure. Every time you lie, hide something, or pretend, you're not just protecting yourself, you're breaking something sacred inside her. You're teaching her to doubt what she believed was safe, and the moment a woman starts questioning your truth, she starts questioning your love. A woman who trusts you gives you her peace. That's her most valuable gift. She stops overthinking. She stops worrying. She starts believing that you're her calm. And when that peace is broken, she can't unsee it. You might apologize, you might explain, but the mind that's once been betrayed replays the details again and again. She begins to analyze every word, every action, wondering what's real and what's not. That's not because she's dramatic. It's because betrayal rewires the way she feels safe. Playing with trust doesn't always mean cheating. Sometimes it's the small lies, the messages you hide, the stories you twist, the truths you delay. Sometimes it's the broken promises you never thought mattered. Every small dishonesty adds up. It's not about perfection, it's about integrity. When you tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, you build credibility. When you lie to avoid conflict, you create distance. A woman can handle the truth. What she can't handle is deception, because deception forces her to doubt her intuition. And when a woman starts doubting herself because of you, that's when she loses her confidence, her glow, her ease. You don't just lose her trust, you make her question her worth. Trust is fragile, but it's also powerful. When you protect it, it protects your relationship. When you keep your word, she feels safe in your presence. When you stay transparent, she relaxes around you. You don't need to be flawless, you just need to be honest. Because honesty builds emotional intimacy, and intimacy is what keeps love alive when attraction fades. Men often think saying, "I'm sorry," will fix everything, but real apologies don't heal, changed behavior does. You can't rebuild trust with promises. You rebuild it with proof, day by day, with actions that match your words, with effort that doesn't need reminders, with clarity that doesn't keep her guessing. When she sees consistency, her heart starts to believe again. If you ever find yourself tempted to hide something, ask yourself why. If the truth will break her, the lie will destroy her. Lies don't protect, they poison. They slowly eat away at the connection until love turns into suspicion. And once a woman starts feeling suspicious, love feels heavy. Every message, every silence, every delay becomes a question mark. That's what emotional instability looks like, not because she's insecure, but because you made security uncertain. Trust, once broken, can be repaired, but it will never be the same. There will always be that silent hesitation in her eyes, that tiny pause before she believes you again. You can still love each other, but it will take maturity to rebuild what carelessness destroyed, so never play with trust. Don't test her loyalty while betraying yours. Don't ask for peace while creating chaos. A woman who trusts you will love you beyond measure. But when that trust is gone, even love starts to fade, because trust is love's backbone. Without it, everything collapses. And once a woman realizes she can't trust your words, she'll start believing your silence instead, and that's when you've truly lost her. It doesn't matter whether you compare her to your ex. Another woman, a friend's girlfriend, or some image you built in your head. Every time you do, you chip away at her confidence. You make her question her worth, her beauty, her effort. And what hurts most isn't the comparison itself, it's realizing that the person she's giving her all to still sees her through someone else's shadow. A woman doesn't want to compete for a place she already earned. She doesn't want to feel like she's in a race to be better than someone who came before her. She wants to be appreciated for who she is, not measured against who someone else was. When you compare her, you make her love feel like a test, not a connection. And no matter how strong she is, that kind of judgment leaves a scar. Every woman expresses love differently. Some are expressive, some are calm, some show it in words, others in actions. When you compare, you erase her individuality, the very thing that makes her special. You start seeing flaws where there used to be uniqueness. You start criticizing where you should have been cherishing. Maybe she doesn't cook like someone else did. Maybe she argues differently. Maybe she dresses in her own style. But that's her, that's authenticity. When you try to mold her into another version of perfect, You're not asking for love, you're asking for imitation. And imitation can never give you real connection. The truth is, people only compare when they haven't healed or when they're chasing an illusion. If you keep bringing your past into your present, you'll destroy both. No woman deserves to carry the weight of another person's mistakes or memories. When she's doing her best to love you in her way, the least you can do is meet her there in the moment, not in the shadow of what was. Comparison kills gratitude. The moment you start looking for what she's not, you stop appreciating what she is. And once gratitude leaves a relationship, affection follows. You start to overlook her efforts, ignore her gestures, and take her presence for granted. She begins to feel invisible not because she's changed, but because your focus did. When a woman feels compared, she starts competing not with others, but with herself. She tries to be prettier, calmer, smarter, anything that might make you finally see her as enough. But the tragedy is, love was never meant to feel like a competition. It was meant to feel like a safe place. You can admire someone's qualities without making your partner feel small. You can appreciate others without diminishing the one beside you. Love doesn't grow in comparison, it grows in acceptance. It grows when you look at her and think, she's not perfect, but she's mine, and that's enough. When you stop comparing, you start connecting. You start seeing her as a whole person, her fears, her dreams, her quirks, her strengths. You start learning her instead of judging her, and that's when relationships shift from performance to partnership. So never compare her, not to your past, not to someone else, not even to your idea of perfect. Because the day she realizes she'll never be enough for your imagination, she'll stop trying to be enough for your reality. And once she stops trying, it won't be another woman who replaces her, it'll be the emptiness your comparison created. A woman doesn't need constant attention, she needs emotional presence. She needs to feel that when she speaks, you're listening. When she reaches out, you respond. When she's struggling, you notice. It's not about being with her all the time, it's about being there when it matters, because physical presence without emotional connection is still absence. You can sit next to her, share a home, share a bed, and still make her feel completely alone. The truth is, loneliness in a relationship doesn't begin when two people drift apart. It begins when one stops trying. When the conversations turn into small talk, when affection becomes a routine, when laughter fades into silence. A woman feels that shift deeply. She senses the distance before it's ever spoken. And while she might not say it out loud, every cold response, every ignored message, every moment you choose your phone over her heart, she feels it. You see, a woman doesn't crave grand gestures every day. She craves consistency, the small check-ins, the gentle, how are you really, the way you look at her like she still matters. That's what makes her feel emotionally safe. When you stop nurturing that connection, she starts to retreat into herself. She starts talking less, feeling less, expecting less. Not because she stopped loving you, but because she's learning to protect herself from disappointment. When a woman feels alone in a relationship, she doesn't always leave right away. At first, she hopes you'll notice. She'll drop hints, she'll ask questions, she'll try to reconnect. But when her efforts are met with indifference, she stops asking. She starts building walls, and those walls are not built from anger, they're built from exhaustion. She's tired of feeling like she's begging for attention from someone who once couldn't get enough of her. A man often thinks silence means peace, but sometimes silence means surrender. It means she's given up on being understood. When she no longer argues, when she no longer explains, when she stops caring about the distance, that's not calmness, that's resignation. That's the sound of a woman emotionally checking out, and the saddest part, you might not even notice it happening. Because she'll still smile, she'll still do the little things, she'll still be there, but inside, she'll already be gone. Her love will become polite, her eyes will become distant, and her laughter will no longer reach her soul. That's what emotional neglect does. It doesn't break her in one moment. It slowly empties her. If you want to keep her, learn to be present. Look up from your distractions, hear what she's not saying, feel her silence, because women communicate in ways men often miss through tone, through energy, through what they no longer repeat. Presence is about sensitivity, noticing the shift before it becomes a separation. Love doesn't fade because people fall out of feelings. It fades because one person stops showing up emotionally. You can't build intimacy on autopilot. You can't expect connection without participation. Relationships need emotional maintenance, effort, time, and empathy. So don't make her feel alone while she's loving you. Don't make her compete with your distractions. Don't let her reach a point where she feels more at peace in solitude than with you. Because once a woman learns to find comfort in her own company, it's hard for her to miss someone who made her feel lonely while she was with them. Be the reason she feels understood, not unseen. Because love isn't about being around her, it's about being with her. And once she feels you've left her emotionally, even your physical presence won't be enough to bring her back. A loyal woman stands with you when it's difficult. She defends you when you're not around. She forgives mistakes that others would walk away from. She holds you down when life tries to pull you apart. But the biggest mistake a man can make is assuming that her loyalty means she'll never leave, because loyalty doesn't mean blindness. It doesn't mean she'll keep suffering just because she loves deeply. It means she believes in you until you give her a reason not to. A woman's loyalty is emotional, spiritual, and moral. She invests her time, her heart, and her energy into someone she truly believes is worth it. But the moment you take that for granted, when you start ignoring her efforts, breaking promises, or treating her love like it's guaranteed, she begins to feel unappreciated. And the truth is, no woman walks away because she stopped loving. She walks away because she got tired of proving that she deserves to be valued. Men often think loyalty means staying no matter what, but real loyalty is mutual. It's built on respect and reciprocation. You can't expect her to keep giving while you stop showing up. You can't expect her to stay faithful to a connection you've stopped nurturing. If she feels like she's fighting alone, her loyalty turns into pain, and pain has a way of changing even the kindest heart. A loyal woman doesn't demand much. She just wants consistency, honesty, and effort. She wants to feel seen, to feel chosen, to feel like her commitment matters. When she supports you through your lows, stands by you when you have nothing, and believes in you when even you doubt yourself, that's not weakness. That's love in its strongest form, and if you can't appreciate that, you'll end up losing something rare while chasing something temporary. Taking her loyalty for granted doesn't happen overnight. It starts with the little things, neglecting her feelings, forgetting her efforts, assuming she'll always be there no matter how you treat her. You start to think she won't leave, but every time you disappoint her without change, a part of her heart starts to let go. She won't scream, she won't threaten, she'll just become quieter, and that silence is the sound of her loyalty fading. You may think she's strong enough to handle your inconsistency, and she is, but being strong doesn't mean she doesn't feel. Even the strongest women break when they're constantly taken for granted. The difference is they break in silence, then leave with dignity. They don't create drama, they create distance. They don't seek revenge, they seek peace. A loyal woman will forgive mistakes, but she'll never forget patterns. If you keep repeating the same behavior, her loyalty will turn into lessons. She'll stop believing your words and start believing your actions. And once she reaches that point, her love becomes guarded not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. So don't mistake her patience for weakness. Don't assume her loyalty is endless. Appreciate her when she's still choosing you. Tell her you notice her effort, match her consistency, because loyalty isn't something you demand, it's something you inspire. When a woman feels appreciated, she'll give you the kind of devotion that no one else can match. She'll love you through storms and still choose you in calm. But when she feels invisible, she'll slowly learn that her loyalty deserves better. Never disrespect her boundaries. Because boundaries are not walls, they're doors. They're the lines that keep love healthy, balanced, and real. When a woman sets a boundary, she's not trying to control you, she's trying to protect herself. She's saying, "This is what I can handle, this is what hurts me, this is what I need to feel safe." And when you ignore that, you're not just crossing a line, you're crossing her trust. Many men mistake boundaries for distance. They think when a woman says no, she's being difficult or cold, but a boundary is not rejection, it's communication. It's her way of showing you how to love her better. When you mock her limits, guilt, trip her for saying no, or pressure her to do something she's uncomfortable with, you don't win closeness, you build resentment. Because love without respect is just control in disguise. Respecting her boundaries means understanding that she has her own identity, emotions, and comfort zones that deserve to be honored. Maybe she needs space to recharge. Maybe she doesn't like being spoken to in anger. Maybe she values privacy, or she's healing from something that makes her cautious. When you respect that, you're telling her your peace matters as much as mine. And that's what makes a woman feel safe enough to open up. When a woman feels her boundaries are respected, she becomes softer, more trusting, more affectionate. Because safety allows vulnerability. But when she feels her limits are dismissed, she starts to harden. She withdraws, she stops sharing parts of herself. You might not even notice it at first. She'll still talk, still smile, but emotionally, she'll start protecting herself from you. That's how emotional distance begins, not with arguments, but with unspoken hurt. Boundaries are not tests, they're truths. They reveal how emotionally mature you are. Can you handle her no without taking it personally? Can you understand her silence without assuming it's rejection? Can you give her space without fearing she'll forget you? That's what real security looks like, when a man can love without possession, support without control, and listen without ego. A lot of men cross boundaries not because they're cruel, but because they don't know how to sit with discomfort. They want closeness on their terms, but love isn't about pushing until she breaks. It's about pausing until she's ready. It's about realizing that her comfort doesn't threaten your connection, it strengthens it. When she sees you respecting her limits, her trust grows. She feels seen, not managed. She feels equal, not owned. If you truly love her, listen when she says, "This hurts me." Believe her when she says, "I need time." Don't call her dramatic. Don't accuse her of overreacting. Her feelings are valid, even if you don't understand them yet. Love means learning her emotional language, and boundaries are part of that language. Disrespecting a woman's boundaries doesn't just wound her, it teaches her to never be open with you again. Once she feels that her no means nothing, she'll stop saying yes with her heart. She'll start to move through the relationship out of habit, not connection. And eventually, she'll leave, not because she stopped loving you, but because she couldn't love herself while staying. So never disrespect her boundaries. Don't confuse control with care, and don't mistake obedience for love. The woman who feels safe around you will give you more than you could ever demand. She'll share her soul, her peace, her energy, because she trusts that you won't misuse them.